Alright, so what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Janitor Garage. So this video is kind of starting in the middle of a job, but basically on this video, in case it's not in the title for whatever reason, we're working on the Ecodiesel again. As you can see, what I have done, I've gotten myself a ranch hand to go in here just because of the trips that I do in this thing. It's 53 miles one way for me to work, and all back roads, so there's plenty of deer, and it is coming up on winter time and rut season, so deer are finna be moving a whole lot more than they're already moving now. And last thing I want to do is hit a deer in my new truck and tear the front end up. I mean, granted, I have insurance to, cover everything, but just don't want to do that. And not only that, but ranch hands are freaking awesome. They look cool. I love the way ranch hands look, and I was actually going to end up putting one on Reba, but I ended up getting rid of it before we got around to it. However, so the reason we started in the middle of this job, and I didn't start you guys off with me at the beginning, is because I needed some help in order to do it, and I'm on night shift schedule right now, so I'm up all night long, and then I sleep during the day, and then on my off days I just keep the same sleep schedule, try and make it easier on me whenever I do have to go back to work. So what we ended up doing is we busted ass all the way to the part that I actually had to have help on. And then they helped me out real quick, and then they skedaddled. I didn't want to eat up time filming and having everybody hush hush and all that stuff, so I can talk and explain stuff to you guys. But I will try and walk you through the steps. It is pretty self-explanatory. The only thing is some of the instructions, I don't know, need to be moved around on the ranch hand instruction list, in my opinion, but that's just me, just so you see it before you start doing something. But I was kind of jumping the gun. I should have read the entire instruction list before I started. So basically, the first thing you want to do is, if you do not have tow hooks, you're going to have these little plastic covers. I have to find where I laid mine. Here they are right here. And these, just go right in these little holes right here. And you can trim these guys. If I'm not mistaken, you can trim these and mount them back in there over that bracket. I don't see the point in that. In my opinion, that hole there doesn't bother me. To some people, I'm sure that would be, that would bother them. But 4 10mm bolts, they're on the inside of the bumper. Super easy to get to. Take that off. You can go ahead and take those off first, or you can go ahead and take the front air dam off first if you wanted to. It's pretty simple. Just you have 2 bolts, and then the rest of it's plastic clips. So 1 10mm bolt on both ends. What I've done is I took all my plastic clips out except one in the center, and then I left both my 10mm bolts in. And then whenever I got ready to take it down, I went on ahead and took that center out. I have my jack right there just to keep it from bending itself. I mean, it's not heavy enough to hurt itself, but I don't know. It's just kind of, I guess I was being extra precautious. Just to sit there in the center so it didn't sag real bad. And then I undone my 2 end bolts and then just slid it out from under there. Once you get the air dam out of the way, the reason for that is for these brackets here, which connect your under bracket here to this bolt hole here. So this bracket right here, he will go up there like that, right? And then connect you back to the bottom just to help strengthen the lower side of the actual bumper mount itself, right? And then it kind of helps keep it square. Even though it has 3 bolts total on both sides, and everything is super well made on the ranch hand. I mean, ranch hand's pretty well known, right? They're probably the biggest and well-known bumper companies around here, at least. I make some heavy-duty stuff. I know this joker here is 150 pounds, and that bumper weighs more than I do. So I knew for sure there's no way I was getting it on there myself. Once I got the air dam off, I just started following instructions. This will come with it, obviously. Shows you how to mount your brackets, where to put all your washers and the different size bolts, right? All on that blueprint right there. And then what we done also is we used the jack to help us. We got the brackets lined because there's enough play in these brackets here on the 2 bolts that mount to the frame right there. There's enough play there to get that top side too far out or too far in. Now these bolts are actually long enough. I don't think you could get it too far in. What we done is we only snugged 1 bolt. We didn't get it tight. We just snugged it, and then we just used the jacked it all the way up in the center. That's what the cardboard is zip tied around that bottom for. Rolled it up there to it, and then once we got the bumper centered around the brackets, and all it needed to do was come up a couple more inches because this jack didn't quite get me up high enough. Then we just picked it up, shoved the bolt in on each side, took turns getting the nuts on, and then so on and so forth. And none of this is tight. I've got the foam actually wrapped around this because we're actually just resting on the grill right now. There's not a lot of weight there. It's not gonna. I know that grill's plastic, but it's not gonna hurt it. It's like I said, it's just resting there. All the weight is actually on those bolts. Now on the bracket mounting down here, you're gonna have on the passenger side, there's gonna be a tab on there. I wish I would have got to film that, but like I said, I was trying to get my help out of here so that they could go home and go to bed because they actually have normal work hours. But there's a tab on the frame itself that the back bracket mounts to. And it talks about it in the instructions. It says that you need to flatten it. It doesn't necessarily say how. So I just took the bracket, and they give you washer spacers for this bracket. If you don't have tow hooks, you run a washer spacer on top and bottom. If you have tow hooks, you only run it on the top. And then you run one on top over here no matter what. So I did not install the washers to start with. I installed the bracket on there, and then I evenly tightened top and bottom until it just mashed that little, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just like a little punch out of the end of the frame right there, a little notch knocked out of it. I don't know why they do that. Somebody can probably tell us why, but all I did, I just used the bracket to flatten it because there's a whole lot of frame body mounting and everything in the way. You can't really get a hammer in there. And you can't really hold anything out far enough without getting into the inner fender well up against that tab in order to flatten it with it. So that's what I ended up doing. It worked fine. These brackets are super heavy. I think I'm sure their specs are all on their website. They're at least a 1/4 inch thick, probably more. I could measure it real quick, but as you guys know, I film on a phone, so it's kind of hard to handle. But so basically, that's pretty much it. The instructions explain how to mount up the brackets really well, like I said. The only other thing that I have to do now is align my air dam back up. I'm going to do the same thing I did a minute ago. Get my 2 bolts on the ends in and 1 in the center. 1 plastic clip in the center. And then I have not installed my bottom brackets yet on purpose. So once I get the bumper straight and everything's tight on the bumper itself with the hardware that's there, before I put that bottom in, it has to go through the air dam. You have to cut a hole. You can do it with a razor blade, utility knife. It's just plastic, right? It'll cut easily. You could probably, if you have a hole saw, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, is finding a hole saw big enough for that bracket to go through, and then just 1 little hole right there. A lot of people do an oval, so that way you cut minimal plastic out of it. That thing I'm pretty sure is just meant to hide the actual mounting bolts of the bumper. I don't know if it actually helps with anything. But once Once I get my markings for that, I'm gonna drill my holes out, and then we'll go back up with that thing first. Then we will install our brackets for the bottom. And what I might actually do is, once I get everything tight, is go ahead and install my bottom brackets too. Make sure everything's going to be aligned that way, right? Because there is a little bit of play in everything, but there may not be enough. Something else may have to be adjusted in order to make these brackets work. So get everything aligned up, then I'm gonna straighten it up as best I can, get it all tight, and then I'll take those brackets back off and get my air dam up there, get it marked. Like I said, you'll just use the bottom of the bracket coming off right there, right? This guy right here. Wherever that is, right there at the air dam, it should be very, very close to touching. Make a little paint mark or something, just something to let you know where to cut it out whenever you take the air dam back off. All right, you guys, so I've got my, I'm gonna call them the main support bolts. They're on there tight. They were all, cocked up from the weight of it was actually sitting too low, the actual bumper itself. So kind of just picked it up, got that one up there tight. When I got it up there snuggish where it would hold itself still, then I had to come up here and counter torque it up here, right? So I'm not, especially on this side, as you're tightening, you're trying to rotate the whole grill. So if you guys are doing this part by yourself and you're not having a professional installer do it, then definitely watch that. Even though this foam's here, if it puts enough pressure right here on that one point, there's not enough surface area there. As heavy as this thing is, with a decent sized ratchet, because these are locking nuts. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll break that old plastic grill there. All right, so thing's still wobbly. So I wanna show you guys this, because I wanna see how much it changes. See how wobbly it is? Now it is shaking the truck a little. I'm not gonna be able to pick that up on this shitty camera, but it is shaking the truck a little. But now the only thing tight is the bumper to the main brackets. The lower support brackets aren't even tight, neither side. And my bolts holding the main brackets are only snug right now. So I'm fixing to go into the truck, and I'm going to tighten all three of those. The one factory bolt that's left in there, and then the two new bolts on the bottom on both sides. And then we're going to come back out, and we're going to do the shake test again and see what it looks like. All right, so frame brackets are tight. I do not even have the lower supports on, so this is my first shake test on it. We're going to see how bad it is now. Oh yeah, it's way better. I don't know if y'all can tell it because I'm shaking with the camera. Way better. So I figured that's where all the play was right then, because this is like I said, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty stout piece. But now that those are tight and we've gotten these back off, sitting in the floor, now I'm gonna get my air dam mounted up there and get him marked, and then we will find out what size hole saw works with this bracket right here. And then I'll let you guys know that, cut my holes, and then we'll be ready to slap that unit right there back on. All right, so got her marked. Of course, I marked it with a Sharpie. It's all I had, but I've got the ends of it marked, the widest ends of it, so that way I know I'm gonna get it to where the bracket will go through it. And the hole saw that I'm going to try is a 2 1/8 inch size. I'm not sure what that is in metric, if you guys got metric hole saws, but I've got a 2 1/8. I'm fixing to cut a hole right here, right now, and then we'll see if the bracket will slide through there or not. All right, so 2 1/8, that's it. Let's just hope I actually centered it up right now, so whenever I, put it back, the bracket goes through it. But 2 1/8 is plenty. And I'll double check on that size or whatever. Make sure that is right. Actually, I think it's right here on the back side where I can see it. Yep, 2 1/8 is the size hole saw. That worked pretty well. It's a little on the big side, but I don't know. Really wouldn't matter if you had to force it through there or maybe trim just a little for a corner or something. But I don't care. Nobody's going to be seeing any of this. If somebody's climbing under my truck looking at this, you know, we got to have some other words other than my hole saw hole being too big. All right, so we're finished up, buttoned up. Thing's solid. Those lower supports really make the difference. There's still just a little shake in there. All wait till I got the lower supports on. Air dam is back on with the yield holes cut out. I missed this guy a little bit. I was a little bit too far backwards, so I had to adjust on him a little bit. And unfortunately, the only cutting tool I have down here in the new shop is hole saws. So you bet you I made a mess under there, but you're never gonna see it. Not worried about it. So I guess now I'm gonna peel the wrapper off this thing, get this cardboard stuff off, let you guys get a final look at it. That's just about it. All right, so there it is, guys. Finished up in all its glory. I guess just a few notes is if you're gonna do this by yourself, I have never installed a bumper like this ever. It's the very first time. I've never even done a bull bar install or anything like that. Now with the help and filming, it probably all in all took me about right at 2 hours, maybe 2.5. I was like double and triple checking all my gaps and alignment and stuff though, which probably isn't completely necessary for a lot of folks. We'll say this. Hopefully you're watching this before you buy this ranch hand for your truck. Be the smart person, unlike me, and wash what's going to be behind that bad boy before and wax it. I didn't. There's bugs everywhere. So this joker's going to be nasty probably for a while, but it's raining down here all the time anyways. But that pretty much sums it up for this video, guys. We're fixing to close up shop and head to the house for the night. The next video coming out is probably going to be on this truck again. However, it's going to be kind of a short video. It's going to be like maintenance doodads. I've actually got one piece here. I'll show you. I'm going to be putting some easy drain valves in some various places because of the miles that I plan on putting on this truck with daily driving it and everything. I want maintenance to be a breeze, and I don't have to worry about unscrewing and screwing in bolts all the time and cracking oil pans, stripping out threads. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. That's pretty much it, guys. If you got any questions, leave it in the comments. I try to get back to the comments as much as possible. Usually I sign in every week or two, and there's 2 or 3 comments, and I try to reply to all of them as best I can. But hope this video helps. This thing is awesome. We'll do a long-term review later in the future sometime. But as always, guys, have a good one, and we'll see you.